Welcome to Providence Inns, back to basics. Today I'm going to show you how to cook the perfect steak. So we've got two nice sirloins here, two 8-ounce sirloins. For that I'm going to need a little bit of vegetable oil to sear them in a pan, some butter just to get a nice sort of colour and flavour on them, a little bit of thyme which is going to go into the pan, some garlic just for flavour, and then I've got some sea salt and a little bit of cracked black pepper. Okay, so now we're ready to cook the steak. So we've got two nice sirloins here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to oil the meat rather than oil the pan. You just end up with you don't need all too excess oil, you just want to actually coat the meat a little bit so it doesn't stick and stays nicely, but rather than just put loads in the pan. Next thing I'm going to do is season it, so fairly generous. It's quite important not to season the meat too ahead because obviously it'll start to draw the moisture out of the meat and it'll start to really permeate the flavour, so it'll get too salty. So with this I always like to put a little bit of cracked pepper on, just on the steak. I think it works. So pan should be nice and hot, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by searing it on this side down on the edge, because obviously if you want a nice rare steak, if you just cook it on either side, what you're going to end up with is a piece of raw flabby fat on the back. If it's cooked properly by rice, you should be able to eat it with the medium rare or rare steak. So just use a pair of tongs and hold it up in the pan. And we're going to get a lot of colour on there and make sure it's cooked through a bit before we turn the steak down onto one of the sides. So just keep an eye on it there. It's even easier if you've got two steaks or three, because you can hold them all together and they hold each other up. So I'm getting a nice sear on that. So just hold it up, you can see I'm getting a nice colour on there. It's going to make it more of a chance to actually eat it. Not everybody likes to eat the piece of fat on the back, but I quite do if it's cooked. Okay, so I'm not far off turning that onto one side now. So at this stage I'm just going to put the steak down in the pan. Let's get some colour on there. At this point you can drop a bit of garlic into the pan, a bit of thyme, and some butter. This is an 8-ounce steak, just a little bit of oil just so the butter doesn't catch, but you want to get some nice colour in there and flavour. I'm just going to taste the steak with some of the butter, and you've got the garlic and thyme in there. Some nice colour on that. See there, adding a little bit of oil to the pan just stops the butter from burning. You don't want it to burn too much and become acrid. So at this point, we'll be ready to give that a turn. See a lot of very nice colour on that. Nice basting in there. Again, these steaks, if you like them sort of rare, medium rare is the best way for me personally to taste a steak, or eat a steak, should I say. But if you just, it shouldn't need to touch the oven at all, we'll just do it all in the pan. Looking good, you can see all lovely butter on the top, the thyme and the garlic. Nothing looks burnt, it just looks nice and golden. So I'm not far off in being in a position where I'm going to remove that from my pan and let it rest. Okay, that's a bit of residual heat in the pan. And I'll lift it out onto a plate. And we're just going to let that rest. I always nappy a little bit of that foaming butter over. garlic and thyme while it rests. And in a restaurant environment, you just set that sort of near the lights and let that rest before you serve it. So we've cooked our steak, it's rested on the plate. The key thing with anything really that you're cooking red meat wise is to rest it as long as you cook it. So it goes for, if you put a roast in the oven and it takes an hour and a half, try and rest it for nearly as long as you've cooked it. And it's the same with a steak or anything really. So the longer you rest it, the better. Everything's tightened up, it's been in that pan nice and hot. So now we need to let it relax a little bit, go back to normal, all the juices go back to where they need to be. And then when we carve it, we won't lose too much juice on the plate, it'll eat a lot better as a steak. So, as you can see with the steak, it's rested down the plate. We'll take rid of the thyme and the garlic, and we'll put it onto the board, and we'll have a look inside and see how she's cooked. As you can see, it's nice and pink. So that's what I'd say is a rare. And to me now, I would just season that with a little bit of sea salt, and then it's good to go. So that's basically how to cook a nice sort of pink steak sirloin. There'll be loads of flavour in there from the garlic, thyme and the butter, a bit of seasoning, and it should eat really well. Okay.